Good morning. A warm welcome to you. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to have a conversation today about a haircut revolution, and I want to spearhead this because I feel that there is so much great to add to that. But what I want to also do is add to the stream the fabulous
Yeah.
Oscar. Good morning, Oscar.
Good morning, Viv. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
Sitting in a car being driven by a lovely gentleman. We're on our first class of the day. Do three classes.
Oh, three classes. So I'd like to introduce
Yep.
Oscar to you. Oscar is with Hattori Hanzo, and he's off to do some workshops. So a big shout out to all the Hanzo fans out there. How many of you just love working with those beautiful scissors? Give us a thumbs up. I know I have a couple of pairs, and they're really fabulous.
Thank
So I
you.
want to say hi to Mark, Andrea, Cindy. Thank you for joining us today. So we're going to be talking about a haircut revolution. And we know that the past trends for how many years, the last 20 years, it's been color focused. And it has
Yep.
been, which is fantastic, and lots of gorgeous long hair, which we love. So the only way to add something new is to color the hair differently from how we have been, which is an evolution. But at some point, we run out of ideas because it's all been done. So the only thing that can happen is a change of shape, a change of the haircut, or we start really styling and dressing hair in a different way. But everyone wants low maintenance. How many people are you finding, Oscar, are wanting like low maintenance little haircuts? They don't want to work at their hair.
They want low maintenance, but they also want things like curtain banks. And if they're not finished, they look like a mop. So it's kind of you got to be realistic. In most things people see in any image that's posted has had a lot of work to it. Yeah, they think it's just they look, shake it out just like my Barbie look right here. It's not easy. So I
No.
think an expectation's there, but people, you put any effort into your hair, it's gonna look better. So the whole low maintenance thing, it kind of lacks a little bit of, like, put it this way, when a client leaves your salon, it's the best their hair's ever going to look, hopefully, because they'll never be able
Yes.
to do it as good as you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But low
So
maintenance kind of drives me nuts.
So what are you finding? What are the sort of haircuts that you're doing now that you're feeling have a kind of a newness to them? Or how do you make haircuts look new and fresh?
Uh, I'm very fortunate that I have at my disposal a whole ton of different kind of shears. So I'm not using exactly the same equipment for every single haircut. That takes it up a notch. But also I get like if there's a request right now, it's for the wolf cut or a shag or I get booked for like nice clean graduations and graduated bobs. But it's just there's not that much drive on trends. Like you haven't got that many freaky people out there. You got your Lady Gagas and all that, but when we were kids, people wanted to be different, but they wanted to kind of all also belong to something. So I don't know. It's very much an age of Instagram and instantaneous. If you saw my Audrey, she's now 15. All she does all day long is takes pictures of brushing her teeth. So it's kind of weird. We were very passionate about what we did. I wanted to find the best model to do the best work. And now it's not really like that. So. But I think there's people out there that are very passionate, and I work with a bunch of people like that. Barbers lead the way in their passion. They're so into their craft, and they don't change a great deal, but their work is perfection. That's what we lack
Yes.
on our side right now. So
Well, I just met somebody recently via long distance. It was the phone, and she said to me, "Well, I'm going to go and get my hair cut by a barber because she said my lady's hairdresser doesn't know how to cut hair." And I thought, wow, that's really sad. And so, guys, let's do a little history lesson. When long hair came in for men, as Oscar's long hair, the barbers didn't know how to do long hair, and that was the birth of unisex. And before that, salons were segregated. Female and male salons were very separate from each other. And then there was this huge revival of this long hair for men, which is really not new. Men have worn long hair throughout the centuries, but barbers didn't know how to do it. The barbershops died. Wash and wear, unisex salons became the hot thing, and that was it. So now we have the flip where barbers are doing really well, and when a woman wants a really cool, edgy, short haircut, she's not generally, unless that hairdresser is really versatile, able to get it in a ladies' salon. So she's going to the barbers. So we're seeing it flip around. Well, everything's in our control. So join me on the haircut revolution, because that's what we're doing. We want to make a change. We want to make it big. So I thought it would be funny to just go back to vintage Viv and show you some really amusing images from the past. And we can have a conversation about how Oscar and I overcame our fear of haircutting, which I think is kind of interesting. So this is vintage
Oh
Viv,
my
and
golly
this is
gosh.
me on stage. And look how my hair is higher than my face.
You look fantastic.
I don't know
Who's
how
next to you?
her name is Sharon. She was from Australia. And I don't know how I got my hair that high, but you can see every single model on that stage is sporting short hair. Now look at this.
There you
Who
are.
says we don't look like our clients? Obviously.
You both look like Pomeranians.
We look like Pomeranians. So what's up with that, Oscar? I mean, I look like my client, or my client looks like me.
Other than your hair, you haven't changed much, babe. You look pretty much exactly the same. Still got the same color hair. Is that your curl or is that a perm? That when
I think
perms were
that
really
this was
huge?
I think this was a
I
perm.
think it was a perm.
Yeah, it's
It's
pretty
lovely though.
scary. So that was the short graduation curly face, because everyone was perming. I did this when I was at Sassoon's, and
Yeah, I
again,
remember that.
it has very short in underneath, and it has this amazing volume on the top. And at that time, we couldn't talk clients into color. All they wanted was to have their hair permed. Remember that, Oscar?
Yep. Yep, and also it's that's a really interesting shape. I know it's really short in the front, and it's kind of people were into shapes. They were into things that weren't the norm. I think that looks fantastic. I remember that picture. That's gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. So this is probably about, I don't know, 35 years old plus. And again, we were into really short hair that moved. And this has a short undercut fringe. And again, it's based on classics. And this is the genius about this particular world, that when you are able to do classic precision shapes, you can do anything. And this is what's so liberating about this, isn't it, Oscar?
That is a spectacular hairdo, babe. That could like work today perfectly. And
So that's
you got a lot going on in there as well. I love that.
Yeah, well,
It's
thank you.
gorgeous.
So then this was another time when we were doing very short hair. And of course,
A large coffee and
so this is
Oh
kind of
my
fun as
golly
well.
gosh.
So this was when we were doing like the bob sensibility with the happy fringe. A happy fringe is a fringe that raises up, which is
thank
really
you.
cool. And then
That's
here,
beautiful.
what we have is the classic graduated bob. And for me, doing this with scissors and doing a precision graduated bob was so difficult. Oscar, do you remember being challenged by the
Yeah,
graduated
thank you.
bob?
That's probably the hardest thing I ever had to do was right there. Oh, hold on. That's probably the hardest thing ever had to do. You could always make one side look good, but the other side didn't match the side that you just did. That graduation's absolutely beautiful, and that's what we practiced and practiced and practiced was get to the level of doing that. It's beautiful,
Well, thank you, but it's
really
super
beautiful.
old, and I just think they're just beautiful classic shapes, which I think
I think it's
is
gorgeous.
thank you so much, which is a lot of fun.
I
So
don't think that I don't. Oh, sorry. I really don't think that shapes have necessarily changed. It's just the flavors of them. You know,
yes,
like this little firefly thing. It's really rigid, but it's beautiful. The lines are gorgeous. Now you can still do the same thing, just with a crap load of texture in there and make it look kind of funky. That's
yeah,
beautiful.
absolutely. So I remember
It's so
when.
perfect.
Do you remember when we did these though? I mean, I remember graduating them way too high in the back, and I remember doing them like friar tuck. So the client would have this length at the front, and it would be all gone in the back. What was
Looks
your
like a
biggest?
melon on someone's head. Yeah.
Yeah, what was your biggest hair disaster?
Oh,
Do you remember?
uh,
Do you remember the biggest
I
hair
think
disaster?
yeah. It depends if it was early or late. Early on, I said earlier that I was doing a haircut and had no clue and got really busted. Someone said, do you know what you're doing?" And I really didn't know what I was doing. And they said, "Well, why didn't you stop?" And I said, I was really embarrassed. And they go, "How do you feel now?" And I was humiliated. The worst thing that happened in the salon was I just thought I was working on another client. And I took a lot of hair off, and I hear a voice say, are we having a change? And I just want to crap my pants. Like, oh my God, the lady I was working on was the one that booked me for a lot of commercials, and she went ballistic, like through the barbicide bottle. You've ruined my life, and you've just got to, it's all your fault. You just got to sit there and take it. And now, before I start any client, I just look in the mirror one more time, just make sure who it is. So you learn from those disastrous lessons, but that was one I'll never forget, ever forget.
Well, guys, when I was a baby at Sassoon's, I was terrified of cutting hair, and I was so scared of making a mistake. I was scared of failure. And so I found a couple of haircuts that I really liked, and I just put them on everybody because I could do them. And then when perms came in, that was genius, because if you made a technical mistake, it was hidden in the curls.
Yeah.
So that was even better. But then I realized I can't keep doing that on everybody. And one day I took photographs of every single person I was working on, and with a Polaroid camera, and I put all the pictures on out, and I looked at the first person and the last person. I realized it was the same thing on everybody. Some people look good, and some people clearly it did not work. But it was almost like it didn't matter, because as long as I gave them the haircut. And that was my turning point, because the photography told me something that my eye had missed, which is just putting the same thing on everyone. How was that for you, Oscar?
You get comfortable. I think we were really lucky. I think both of us were lucky in the fact that we went from salon into teaching, because you don't do the same thing when you teach. You've got to, like people would say, that's what you did yesterday. So I think the problem with stylists always have been they just get very comfortable at what they're doing. They get very good at what they're doing, but they do the same thing every day expecting a different outcome. So I think what you did with those photographs was kind of genius. I look at myself in pictures and think, oh my golly gosh, like I've got to do something. So it's the same thing, but being aware of where you work is really important. I've always worked with younger people that tell you, like, that sucks, or you did that yesterday, or you're like, thank you very much. I'll try better, thank you. But I think working alone, and there's a lot of independence, it's hard. It's hard knowing where you are when you're totally alone and not working with other people. So I kind of relish working with people. And there's a big breakthrough for me as a kid was I was pretty shy, and hairdressing brought all that out of me. I didn't want to talk because I stutter, and now I get paid to talk. So you never know, the things you don't like about yourself might work out to be really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Going back, you have to kind of constantly know, if you always do the same thing, you'll always get the same result unless you change.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
so
change is really like, people don't like change, but you can't stop it, and you've almost got to embrace it. Otherwise, you're fighting it all the time, and it's not worth it.
Yeah, well, the only constant in life is change, isn't it? That's what Confucius said.
Yeah, change and wrinkles. So I find those never stop. That's like a wave that hits you, like it doesn't stop. So it's not necessarily all bad.
Yeah. So are you ready for a real laugh, Oscar?
Yeah, let's see it. Yeah. Oh my golly gosh. That was when channeling was big, wasn't it?
Yeah, weave cutting and channeling. So guys, what we did was all this weave cutting. So it's based on a classic graduation. The back actually has a V. I have to find it. I couldn't find the photograph of it, but the back has a V in it. And it was all about the weave pieces coming through. We were doing weave perms, we did weave color, we did weave cutting, we did channel cutting. It was so much fun, wasn't it, Oscar?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And what really drove us were those soirees. Like every salon, even the school had a soiree every month or so, and you had to produce something that was going to impress everyone. And I think that's what drove everyone to do different things. I think it was really, really good.
So then
I love the makeup as well, those purple lips.
I know. Then I got a little bit more sensible. So this was the time when the razor came in for me, and I started to do razor cutting with on geometric shapes, and that started to shift things around. And then I started to get into sort of the softer work because I realized that if I didn't, I would be like left behind. And so that became the next place to go. It was sort of the evolution of starting to loosen up hair. And as you know, Oscar, loosening up hair is an art form in and of itself. And I think that's what we're good at today. And it's hard now to kind of go back to structure again after doing things that are loose and undone. And these images are probably about 25 years old, guys.
And I think it was really hard for us at that time to even contemplate being a loose hairdresser. Like everything was super clean. You were judged on your technicality. So I think one of the biggest changes I had to go through was the leaf pieces. I'll do these lovely little shaggy hairdos, and then you clean it all up, make it look like a Playboy. So I think that was the biggest change for us, was going away from what we already believed in was really structured shape, some beautiful technique, into like leaving pieces. And I also think that for you, Viv, you've always had a fantastic level of taste. So regardless of how ugly the work is around you, your work was always nicer than everyone else's. And taste is really hard to teach. I do the opposite now. Most of the classes I do are all about clean lines because people are amazed about it. And you're like, it's so simple. It's it was our bread and butter early on. So, but changing to texture, it's really helped me using the different tools. The one thing I think Vidal was a little bit naive about was just using a pair of shears and a comb. And you it was adamant you can't do anything but. That was a bit short-sighted because I think when you got your Tonian guys, they were all about texture. Irving Rusk got holes in his shears and stuff like that. We were a bit late to the party on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
So what advice
now,
would you give to somebody that has a fear of cutting hair, especially a fear of cutting hair short? What would be your advice to give to them to get started? Because guys, we're starting our haircut revolution, and we want you to start posting short haircuts and then actually put in their haircut revolution, because if we don't create it, if we wait for somebody else to do it for us, it'll never happen. And the first haircut revolution happened over 60 years ago with Vidal Sassoon, and he took women from sets and stylized hair to real haircuts. So for us to expand our business and our repertoire, we have to start embracing the world of short hair. And it's so exciting and so much fun. What advice would you give to everybody, Oscar?
if you're really fearful, then you've got to get a bit more courage. You've got to go out there and find a free haircut for a short haircut. Or the other really good way to do it, there's less and less, but get to a hands-on class where whatever you do doesn't really matter because you're going to leave there. Hopefully, watching videos or YouTube without someone actually showing you is very, very difficult. It's like I try to cook and I watch those videos and it's just hideous. Whereas if someone showed me, it'd be fantastic. But I think when someone's fearful of things, and I've had tons of fears in my life, just of talking, all kinds of things, it's where you get courage. And if you don't do it, you're not gonna succeed. So be nothing that scary and heavy. Like as scary as you think it is, there's a lot scarier things in life. But find someone, go out there and find some short haircuts, not necessarily paying clients or friends, sisters, brothers, but someone you don't even know, Craigslist, and do your best, and you learn that way. But hands-on classes from someone like you that knows what they're doing and can explain things down to a pinpoint measurement, that's what's key.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
would,
So guys,
I think supervised and someone that is good at what they do and not bad at what they do.
yeah,
Someone that can explain the minutiae of what you're doing. So,
yes.
hey,
Yeah.
I'm turning up to my first class now.
Well, good for
started in
you. Well,
5
listen, have
minutes.
a wonderful class, and thank you for joining us today. We love you dearly, and
I'll do this anytime. I'd love to be a regular with you. Just listening to you brings back fondness. So I love you, Viv, and I always have, and I always will. And thank you so much. And
all right,
everyone
love,
out there, you're
have a
very
great
lucky to have
class.
her with you.
Thank
Bye,
you. Bye, Oscar.
bye, bye.
So, guys, a couple of tips. One of the things that we always used to do at the top salons I worked in London was we had house models. What is a house model? A model is someone who is gorgeous and they are a walking advertisement for you because the way that they put themselves together is amazing. They may work behind a cosmetic counter. They may work in a fashion store, somewhere where they have to dress up, and they are an inspiration to the community. And they're the kind of person where someone says, oh gosh, you look so lovely. Who does your hair? Boom, there's the card. Somebody like that. Modeling agencies, house models with new talent that's coming into the agency, taking care of them. So the deal with a house model is that you take care of their services for free, and in exchange, They do posts on Instagram. They would offer their services for free for a photo shoot with you. And that way you can both get value out of it. They're getting free services. They are basically referring people to you. It's something we did for years and years and years. And it was amazing what house models would do. So consider that. You have to select them really mindfully. You work out a contract with them to say, well, you'll get X amount of services, but this is the way it is. So everyone understands the expectations. And then, whether you want to test it for 3 months or 6 months and see what the return is on that investment, it's really, really great. As Oscar said, it's about education always, and you know that. And you have to find the style that fits who you are. I wanted to tell you about the designer program. We are launching the second one in January. And what we've done is a blend of of live, which is where I'm watching you virtually. I'm watching you on the screen. I can critique you. You submit your work to me. I can give you more critique. And you actually are taken through a very, very structured course. If you want to master hair cutting, our designer program is a journey to mastery. And it is a commitment for a year. So it's not a fast track. It's a slow, easy, relaxed, fun, playful. It's divided in 5 terms. We go from styling and finishing, face shape, developing a great sense of style, knowing how to sell an idea to that client. We then get into cutting fundamentals. We go over our bob collection, our graduation collection, and our layer collection. And at the end of it, you will be worth more behind your chair. You'll have more skills, higher level of taste and sophistication for your work, more fashion forward. And I guide you every step of the way. So it's the best way of me being able to mentor and guide you every week. And it is not like the old school of you just watch a video and there's nobody there to help you. In this particular program, we're there to help you step by step. So if any of you relate to this, where you do have some fears around cutting hair short, you are worried about that, I just want you to embrace it, because no fashion stands still. Every fashion has its cycle, and we are in the fashion industry. And when we're in the fashion industry, we must be aware of trends, aware of what's coming up next, and be able to share that with our clients and always be ahead of the client. So again, if that's interesting to you, check out the information of the hair designer program. And also next Monday at 10 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be doing a webinar, and I'd love for you to join me. You can register. I believe there'll be a link below where you can actually register. And if not, we will send you the link. And it's going to be next Monday at 10 for a webinar. And it's all about your journey to mastery as a hair cutter. Thanks for being with me today. And of course, thank you, Oscar, for being with me. Dear, dear man. And I hope that these retro images have made you have a bit of a laugh, because they are quite funny, really. And that was the kind of work we used to do. So take care and lots of love. And thank you so much, Cindy, Elaine, Colette, Sherry, Max. All have a wonderful, wonderful day. And we will see you online next week. Bye for now.